Do you ever notice that when we come to church that everyone pretty much sits in the same seat every week? Right? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, somebody might, every now and then you might switch around, but pretty much like some people are pretty set on that exact seat. Like, and if somebody sits in it, they kind of come and they kind of walk up. And there's this sort of awkward silence. We laugh, we do it at church, but we do it also at the kitchen table and the living room. Mom and Dad have got their seats, right? And if you sit in that seat, you come and they look and give you the eye, and you have to move over. I mean, we're creatures of habit, right? And we tend to do, and that works for us because we tend to do what we do over and over and over again. And it's helpful to a certain extent, but it also can inhibit us from experiencing. Because, like, so for example, if I took all of you and said, "Okay, you guys are all going to move over here," and I look at you guys, and you guys all, now I know there'll be chaos right now, but it's actually a different perspective, looking from the church over there than it is looking from over here. And if you've never sat over here and you've always sat here, maybe you should try it because it is different. And it's very different if you sit up front. Just saying, like for those who have the cushioned back seats, right? We often, and you get used to it, and you kind of like, this is where you go. The reason why is that discomfort of moving from where you normally sit, like changing seats, also changes your perspective. And when you change your perspective, you see things differently. And you see things new. And in that change of perspective, hopefully there's an opportunity to grow and to change as an individual. And today's gospel, Jesus is asking us to change seats. See, he's asking us to come out of our comfort of our regular lives and to change seats with the poor in spirit and to understand what it's like to be poor. He's asked us to change seats and to sit with those who mourn so that we can comfort them. Sit with those who are meek and humble so we can see what it's like to be in that position. To sit with those who hunger and thirst for righteousness because maybe their rights have been stamped on. To sit with those who are persecuted in some way. Maybe because of their skin color, maybe because of their gender, or maybe because they're gay or lesbian or one of the many other challenges that they face. Or maybe they just feel persecuted because of other things. And when we sit with them and we experience life from their perspective, then we are changed. We get changed, not them. Because our eyes are opened to seeing things differently. See, when we change seats, it's us that gets the change, not the person whose seat we sit beside or change into. And that's the whole purpose of these Beatitudes, is to change us, is to change our attitude. That's why they're called the Beatitudes. To change our attitude, to change our way of being, to change our seat. And Jesus tells us, but he also models it, right? You understand that, right? Because Jesus changed his seat for our seat. Like he came from heaven to earth. He came from the divine to the human. He took on poverty and was with those who are poor. He just didn't say it. He did it. He didn't just talk about those who mourn or suffer. He sat with them and comforted them. He didn't just tell others to sit with those who are hungering and thirsting for righteousness. He ministered to them. And he indeed even dined with them. And that gave their suffering some dignity, some sense of consolation. You see, our discipleship each Sunday, and I love we come to church. Don't get me wrong; it's great we're coming. This is part of the thing. But sitting in a different chair, a different seat, might challenge us to look at things slightly different, because we're meant to leave here changed. We're meant to go back a different way. We're not meant to receive and then go back and do what we've always done, because we're going to get what we always got if we do what we've always done. We're meant to do something different. We're meant to change our mind, our heart. And that's what this liturgy every Sunday is always about, is to receive Christ, to become Christ, to become what we receive. And so we're in a sense meant to change our seats, to come back a completely different way. So today, maybe you don't necessarily change your seat at home or change your seat in the car as you go home, or I'm not necessarily saying you cheer for Philadelphia versus, might be a little bit much. Let's not go too far. Maybe do that another day. But I am saying that we take seriously the change of heart that we're called to. That we're meant to sit and change our seat and accompany those who are poor, who are meek, those who are mourning, those who are hungry and thirsting for righteousness, those who are pure of heart, and those who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness. We change our seats so we can change our hearts.